destiny, growth, innovation,
honor, leadership,
influence, inspiration, safety,
corruption, power,
Power.
power,
power,
Money, prestige, and power.
Times embarrassment.
Leadership, responsibility,
leadership, respect,
navigation abilities.
Extraordinary complex issues.
Your decisions have major consequences, not just for yourself, but for other people around you. And if you've never sat in that chair and you've never been in that role, we certainly don't want to test drive it with the most powerful position in the world.
I think the benefit of having a strong president is their ability to communicate to the American people and act as a leader and show themselves as a leader.
Around the globe, it's more of representation of who we are and what it's like to be an American, and hopefully create a sense for other countries to want to be more American, right? To kind of have our sense of democracy and freedom and some of those other, wonderful attributes that come with being an American.
I like to feel like when our leader's sitting at the table, that person is able to connect with other leaders and work in a positive way.
I think the benefits are endless. I think countries still look to our president as somebody that can get things done and can help out when in times of needs.
Having living here but being from a different country, I think the international aspect of the presidency is crucial.
I think that he or she plays a very important role as far as how people feel about the country and whether or not they're able to hold their head up high as they're traveling.
The benefits to us are for those Americans that are not well-traveled, for those Americans that are not aware of what goes on outside of their own neighborhood, outside of their own communities, outside of their own state, is the president becomes the lens of the world for people who aren't worldly. And those decisions that are made as the president, those in Congress, are worldly decisions.
Well, I think it allows the president to drive some of our priorities and what's important to the United States going forward. So whether that be in the form of national security and working with other countries to ensure our security, or driving the world economy and really putting the U.S. in a position to really leverage our size and our power in that regard.
I think that's important to have somebody who knows how to be a diplomat, because their diplomatic procedures will determine what we do and don't get from other countries.
The ability to calm a nation, the ability to make us all, whether or not it's true, believe that we're going to get through today, to tap into those times when it's tough, are some of the really hallmark moments that you can look back at presidencies and say, at that moment they were presidential. At that moment they were the leader of this country.
With whatever strength there is within me, I will continue, and so will my associates, to do just one thing: to work for 168 million Americans here at home and for peace in the world. That is all.
What qualifies an American to be president?
Well, by the Constitution, I believe 35 years of age.
Unfortunately, the only qualification you need is to be 35 years old and be a U.S. citizen. But what I think qualifies somebody is to have, first of all, be very well educated, have a thorough and complete knowledge of the law.
Someone who understands the world, someone who really understands the issues, someone who is self-aware.
What qualifies a president is someone who's actually able to deal with political issues, someone who has, well, to me, it should be someone who has a background in politics, someone who maybe had been a lawyer, a senator, or a congressman.
You have to be balanced, you have to be educated, it would be nice if you have some military background so you understand the power of the military, the checks and balances within the military, and how the military works as a whole.
I do believe that the presidential seat should have some sort of acumen in the space of policy, political, legal, as well as marketing. I think all of those are important because you can't communicate a message and expect people to take it in if they aren't good marketers.
I think they need to have a broad background. They have to have some knowledge and working knowledge in our government, but then also I think the private sector and their ability to be successful in that area. Because when I look at the government, it's not much different than a large corporation and how it operates. So if you're going to be the CEO of a large company, you need to have the ability to understand what the priorities are for that company and drive it forward, very similar to what the president does with our country.
I think a depth of knowledge and experience, not only just politically, but also being worldly, having traveled, having experienced living in different situations, being around different kinds of people.
Where have they been in a situation where diplomacy was needed and they were able to work through a pretty difficult situation as far as influencing others that have a very different belief system, and that they were successful in that endeavor?
The unintended consequences when you're the leader of the free world and you're dealing with some third world countries full of strife, it means life or death for people, typically in those countries, but also for American citizens as well.
Again, this is a person with nuclear codes, so you have this person who is supposed to keep a cool head and determine whether or not we go to war with people. It's a big deal. It's a pretty big deal. I wouldn't want the job, that's for sure.
From my perspective, what qualifies someone to be a presidential leader would be someone who is fit in mind, fit in body, fit in spirit, and actually has run something of significance, be it a company, be it a enterprise, be it a local or even community environment where they've actually created ambassadors, created people who can help deliver the message. That's who I think would be the most appropriate to hold office as president.
I think this is something that's really changing now, and we're seeing it because we've had presidents from all sorts of backgrounds now run in elections or in some cases be elected president. So I think there's no magical template right now. I think as long as you have good ideas, as long as you connect with people, those are really the two elements I think that are most important.
I think you have to also have a sense of balance to truly not only be president, but to be an impactful president. I think you've got to be able to want to bring parties together.